Okay, so I did a little test here without removing my old door. I just hooked up the wiring, and as I was suspected, this button here will work for the window, but the other auto one will not. You can't really just kind of pop this in and make it work. So I'm going to have to use my connector, or my switches here for this, and else we'll swap out this piece, that's fine. Here's the crazy part, is that I turned on my turn signal, and I've got actually a turn signal indicator here on this mirror. So I actually don't have to swap the mirror out. That's pretty cool that I have this now. And maybe that makes me want to go back to the wrecking yard and get the other door off the car so that I can match and have those. Interesting idea. Okay, so now it's actually the easy part. We'll just swap out the doors here. One thing I've noticed is that the weather stripping, or the seal on this door, is in pretty bad shape. It's all kind of crappy and ripped up. And of course mine is all good and solid. So really, one thing I might want to do is just peel this off from this door and apply it to my door, so that I've got a nice, just continue to keep that right there. Because, I don't know, might have some water or rain, anything getting in there, but let's keep all the good stuff that we can. And now really it's just a part of swapping out the doors. So we decided the easier thing to do would be to try and pull these fasteners out first, attach them to the attach them right here where they need to go on the weather stripping, and then pop it back in that way, rather than try and fit them in as they're already on the door. It's a better idea to have them in this part, and that way you can just kind of push them straight in here. So we'll have to kind of remove all of these and get them out. Okay, here is the donor door now. We've got the new, actually the old weather stripping in from my car, all replaced in there. That looks good. Decided to keep the panel here, but I swapped out my controls, so we only have the auto right here for this window and not for the other one. And now all we have to do is just put it back in place. It's a pretty easy bolt-in job. Try everything out. Now I already have a video about replacing a door, because I replaced the back door on this car and even swapped out the panels. So I kept my old panel and the other one didn't match. But that's an easy thing to do. We're going to start off with a 10mm socket here and remove this little bolt right here that connects this little arm. And then after that, it's the big 13mm bolts right there that actually hold the door on with the hinges. So we'll get this little guy off here first because I don't want it to bend, and then we'll do the big ones. And as for my other video, the thing to know is that you pull out the bolts here, two gone there, that's it. But what's happening? The door is not falling. It will actually be really kind of strongly stuck in there with some adhesive or time or paint, or I don't know. Basically, you see, to get a little chisel and just kind of hammer right on there to break them free, and that's all you need to do at this point. Well, the door is all in, back and mounted up here, so it's all pretty cool. And the one cool thing is I actually have a turn signal indicator on the mirror here, and it's not quite aligned up. It's not, let's see, let's check the back door here. Yeah, so no problem, but it's not quite aligned up. I think right in here, the lock for the door, when it hits here, it's not quite aligned. It sounds a little strange when it goes in. That was unexpected. And it doesn't quite match up here perfectly. Of course, I guess that's about as good as I can expect, maybe. It's also possible that this side of my car is a little bit out of whack. The strange thing here is this. I tried this with my original button cluster, and there were some problems. Now obviously, because my car doesn't have the automatic window on the passenger side, this isn't going to work. But also with my original panels in here with the buttons, this button wouldn't open and close this window, but this one would do this window. And nothing will open and close the window over there, not even the controls on its own side. And also this lock unlock here wouldn't work on mine. So I put the original panel back in that came from the new donor door, and now this button works as it should. All these others do. Of course, the back one, that's kind of a simple thing. And the lock unlock works, but of course it still won't open the window on the other side, and that won't work. So that's the one thing now, is I can't open the window to the passenger side door, which is a little bit strange. So I'm wondering if I need to actually swap out that door as well. That is my question for the moment. And then, is there any way I could align this door to be a little bit better? I've cleaned it up some. I need to clean it up a bit more, but you know, it's looking okay. So anyway, the door is in, which really is a pretty easy job, and we've got some interesting little issues, things we've found out. So we know about what happens when you put in a turn signal indicator rear view mirror there, or side view mirror, and we've got the problem with the passenger door. So this is the good thing, the door not so good. So I'm going to try and figure that out, and I'm thinking the solution might be that I may have to return to the junkyard and get the other door and bring it home and swap that out. So that's what I'm thinking. It makes sense to me that that would solve the problem. I can't think of anything else that would. Now, I just talked to a guy in the service department from a local Nissan dealership and asked about this. And he said a simple solution could be to get the wiring harness from my original door. And so that would start right here and then end up and plug in right here. And that would do the trick there to solve the problem where the passenger side door isn't going down, because it's a manual up and down, not fully automatic. And so I'm thinking about that, but I'm also really considering the idea of going and getting the other door from that car and trying that out, because then I'd have, if that works, I would have the turn signal indicator on the mirror and automatic down on the window. So I'm thinking about that, but at the very least I've got the wiring harness solution here, which maybe I'll go ahead and take this out. Shouldn't be too much of a difficulty to get that, but that is a kind of a that does make sense here to use this this wiring harness, and there wouldn't even need to be any sort of cutting or splicing, because it's just, you know, here's the plug on one end and the plugs on the other end are to the buttons. And if you're curious, this is what it looks like. Everything is all together in one. This little bit here goes to the light. It's at the bottom part of the door here. This little bit here goes into the motor. There's the motor for your window. These are the controls, the buttons there on your little panel. All that's right there. And you can see it even includes the connection to the speaker, and up here to the power window, and this is where it kind of goes through the door and then exits out right here. So that's kind of the idea. That's the whole harness. I'm going to pull this out and keep it just to see if I need it. I'm hoping I won't have to replace the whole thing, but that is what it looks like. Everything electrical in the door is all in one piece. So I'm not able to pull it out, but I'm looking at this here and I'm pretty darn sure that these little pieces sticking out here, little plastic piece here and here and here, those are how this is mounted on the inside of all strange things. So the way you have these little mounts here that kind of plug in and hold it secure to the door, right here it's mounted on the inside. So I just kind of squeeze these pieces and push them through here, and I think I might do that with. Now, for the solution of swapping out the wire harness to solve the passenger window problem, I'm not sure I'm a big fan of that. As we see, here's some of the wire harness, and there's a lot of noise. Nice. I haven't fully disconnected the inner door panel here, but you'd also have to remove this panel, and you can see the wire harness also connects all the way inside the door there. It goes into the door lock, because that's got some electricity, so you can click in there, and it just goes all the way through and attaches on the inside of the outside panel of the door, and just all through here, everywhere. Every single thing that needs electricity is all part of this harness. So I'm thinking that would be a huge pain to remove, and I'm hoping there is a simpler option. And here is the simpler option. Just replace the entire door. So I went back to the junkyard, got the other front door for the passenger side front, and it works. So I have an auto down button here, and that means that the auto down button for the new button cluster also works. So that is a bit of an upgrade here. And then of course with this new door, even though it's from 1 year older, I do have the turn signal on the outside mirror. So that's one way to upgrade and get the turn signal and the auto down for the passenger door if you don't already have it, and that is to swap out both doors for the front. A bit expensive for both of them, but that's the simpler way to do it, and you've got the upgrade there. And one thing to note, if you are going to replace a door and you don't want to remove this front fender here, which I didn't want to, since that's all good, you can't really get to the nuts that will hold on the hinges to the body unless you remove this fender. But you can remove, I'll open this up a bit here, there you go. You can actually remove these nuts right here, these four that hold the hinge to the door without removing the fender. So that's what I did both on the donor car and then on my car here, is I just removed these four nuts right there, and of course this little 10 millimeter one right here, and I kept my original hinges, and that worked just fine. The one thing that I would say is that in order to get the door to align properly, so that right here this catch comes in where it should, while someone is doing the final tightening up on those bolts there, someone should actually grab the door down here and hold it up. That was my experience. So take the door and hold it up while the bolts are being tightened, because if you just kind of let it hang while you tighten the bolts, it'll actually be a little bit too low. It'll close, but this won't be quite aligned and it'll hit. So that's my secret, two-person job. Pull up on the door from here while the bolts are being tightened, and then when it's all said and done, it should align nicely up like this. Actually have it a little stronger shut there, and will work quite well.